The Hyperspace, Podcasting in the 25th Century presents.
The Skeleton Chronicles, our discussion and review of the Disney Plus series Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Welcome in, podcast pirates, to the Skeleton Chronicles, brought to you by the Hyperspace, Podcasting in the 25th Century. This is our discussion and review show of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. And, as always, my name is Jared.
Hey, my name is Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Lindsey.
That was take two, everybody, but you don't know that for the magic of editing.
Man,
But
how
hey,
long has it been since the crew has been together?
That's how long it's been.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Ahsoka.
Well, yeah, we took a show off.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? We're turning the page. We're just gonna move on, and we're talking about a show that, not to give too much away here at the beginning, that I think we've all found some enjoyment in.
Whoa, not to give too much away. That means somewhere in this
crap.
episode.
Well, there's going to be spoilers, and because of that, I've got a new thing. I have the spoiler lightsaber.
Is this gonna fail like the old thing?
No, I tested it earlier.
Wait, hold on. This isn't like testing it, like looking down the barrel like Luke did and testing it, right?
No, of course not,
Okay.
Matt. I'm not that stupid.
All right.
All right. So when I ignite the lightsaber, we will hear the spoiler alert go off. And since this is not a video podcast, this is all prop comedy you can't see. So okay, here we go. We're gonna start the spoiler lightsaber here in 3, 2.
Oh my God.
Ouch!
Oh, Jared.
Crap. That didn't work like I thought. Oh no.
That was kind of like the Pee Wee Herman and Buffy the Vampire Slayer dying at the end there.
Okay, the wound is
Yeah.
cauterized, so I think I'm going to be okay to record.
I don't know. Listen, let's be
Oh.
honest. We've learned in the past few shows that lightsaber wounds are 100% recoverable.
Yeah, they're not fatal anymore. Oh, okay. Well, let me.
Just
somebody
hit the
else
regular
start the
button.
spoiler
Hit-
alert.
all right, ready? And
Yeah. Okay. There's the spoilers. Yeah. So if you haven't watched any of the first 4 episodes of the Skeleton Crew,
man, that was drawn out.
we're gonna be and that's all the time we have for today's show. We're gonna be talking about the first 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew. So
4 episodes.
if you don't want to know what has happened, you best eject now. So okay. These first 4 episodes, I think it's averaging out. We've got about 100 minutes now of new Star Wars stuff.
Right.
And I gotta say, I've been very happy with what I've seen so far. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm anxious to hear what you guys think, and the highlights. Because like Matt, we discussed this a little bit. We're not going to be doing a scene by scene breakdown, but certainly this is going to be more of a free form conversation of the first 4 episodes, not necessarily in chronological order, however we want to do it. So throwing it out there, first impressions.
I mean, Skeleton Crew, hands down, so far is one of my favorite shows. In the first 4 episodes, I mean, let's see if they can land the starship. Let's see if they can do it. But I mean, it's a total throwback on purpose, very Spielbergian. There's a lot of thought put into casting. I think the cast is amazing. Jude Law, by the
so
way,
good.
belongs in Star Wars completely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely got a kind of a hybrid, almost Obi-Wan Han Solo thing going
But
on.
I mean, it's done intentionally. It's very Goonie-esque. It's very adventurous. It's so much fun. And I have to tell you, it's done that to make a fan like me at almost 50 feel good about the show, and it's made for kids to be able to watch it like we watched Goonies as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to hold up. I think this is a great show.
You
I was
know,
talking to. Oops, sorry, Brian.
oh, go ahead.
You absolutely should go first. I can't believe I did it again.
No.
I will let you go first.
Okay, no, it's Lindsay's turn. Here we go.
I was just gonna say, I was
Go.
talking to Emily at work too about how it reminds us a lot of Treasure Planet, if you guys ever saw that movie.
The
Yeah,
Disney
this-
movie Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
Yes.
space pirates, and
Totally.
that not like it's not like exactly like that at all, but like with the droid, and like the mystery, and
It's
it
a lot
has
of
lots of good.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
Star Wars comfort food. It's like it's very
Yes.
familiar, a lot of it.
And these kids can actually act.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
They are good, unlike, well, the last
Aw.
series.
Aw.
Well, you know,
Kids that couldn't act their way out of a cardboard box.
there is a real chemistry with this whole cast
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
far. And
You know,
You instantly like everyone. It's like a writing, cinematography, music magic trick when they can do this sometimes. I feel like where I'm instantly, it's good writing, it's good
Yeah.
TV
Yeah.
making, where I'm instantly like, I like everyone, I'm invested in everything that's happening, and I care
yeah,
immediately.
So Fern's character reminds
that's very well
me
put. That's very well put. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Fern's character reminds me of this girl I grew up with that lived in my neighborhood, Tasha.
Aw.
Oh no, in a bad way. She was
Oh,
like
damn.
she was like super bossy and stuff. And
Mhm.
Okay.
in the first couple episodes, Fern is like super bossy.
Well, as
Now-
the neighborhood's bossy girl, I
Yeah.
liked her.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't dislike her. It's just
I was like, oh yeah,
It
she's
brought back
great."
past trauma.
yeah. Oh no. Well, me and my friends stood our ground against the girl, unlike
Oh.
these guys.
Oh, well,
She's-
it's
But
well,
Got their number.
you know what?
She's got their
It's-
number.
I think that's an interesting. It certainly started out very adversarial,
yes.
and in that way, like, hey, there's the yucky girls, there's the yucky boys.
Yeah.
You know, the boys are dumb and the girls are yucky. And you know, when they're sort of in, and you know, I guess I'll talk about kind of this strange society
Right.
that they
Oh,
come
yes.
from.
They're like Stepfordy, Star Warsy
Yes.
suburbia.
Yes.
So it's very, you know, this is not something they didn't tip their hand on this in any of the trailers or anything like that. Like, we find out, you know, pretty quick that this planet, Ad-Aden, is sort of hidden away in the galaxy, and while there are, you know, we see aliens, we see, you know, Ithorian hammerheads. I mean, that comes to mind. We see those on this planet, and some other alien. There's that Furby alien that
Right.
Neil has a crush on.
Yeah.
Right.
So we see, you know, this isn't like a humans only type of thing. Like there are alien species here, but they are kind of sequestered away, and they don't have any knowledge of the galaxy outside the barrier. You start to pick these things up early when they say, you know, oh well, starships aren't allowed here. That's against the law. And you're thinking, well, that's kind of weird for Star Wars. And then it comes up that these kids are using old Republic currency,
Mm-hmm.
the dataries, and everybody else in the galaxy is like, whoa, where'd you get these? These are in mint condition. What is going on? The kids don't know that Alderaan has been destroyed. They have no.
When
They
the
have
old
no-
lady's like, ooh.
I know she's like, wow, I guess you haven't heard about the war. And so that whole thing is fascinating to me.
They
And-
do have some limited knowledge though, because I
Well-
mean they know about the Jedi and the
Yes,
the Sith. I mean they're playing with the little toys and stuff like we would've-
which I like.
and the
that's
lightsaber fight.
Yeah, that's something I like
Yeah.
in this show, that it's sort of it is kind of looking in a mirror in a way that
Mhm.
Well,
Well, and at first that bumped me because I was like, okay, post Empire, they're already. I thought Jedi were, what, like, what is this? These kids playing with Jedi stuff? What's going? And then obviously it like tricked me into being
Yeah.
like that. And then actually,
Mhm.
to them, they are legends that everybody knows about.
But you know
Yeah.
what I liked about
Yeah.
what I still like about the show from the start is that they took the first episode and they did a great job, I thought, of setting up everything very well. You got by the end of the first episode, you had a pretty good read on all the characters that were introduced. They put the plot in motion very fast, but I didn't feel rushed. And every episode to me, the first one was a little longer, but every episode to me feels watched. Like it's like I feel like I've watched a lot. I've learned a lot, and I don't feel like it was a lot of fluff.
No,
You know?
no fat.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
yeah,
just
this one did this last fourth one. I was like, wait, that's the end. That's the only
Well,
one so
yeah.
far
I will-
because of the way it cut. I was
I
like,
think the fourth
wait a minute.
episode feels a bit of a side quest to me, like we
But-
sometimes saw in The Mandalorian, and it's my least favorite of the bunch so far. But that said, it's
well,
really
you still,
exciting.
but think about the information that you got in episode 4.
Look, the
Every-
end of
good
episode
stuff.
4 was worth the whole watch because I thought the
Yeah.
whole last 10 minutes was great.
Every episode is moving the story on, and
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, okay, what are we doing? What is
And
this?
we learn all these at planets are
At
like
Akron,
at yeah,
a lot of cool stuff.
they all sound great, and we learn they all started the same, which I think is interesting to know that
Yeah.
they all were like identical.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's fun about the show is that, you've heard your whole life that Star Wars is a fantasy show versus sci-fi. And you kind of go back and forth with your brain going, maybe it's sci-fi, maybe it's fantasy. This feels very fantasy, like fantastical. The whole show is, I like the mythos of the lost planets. I liked all that stuff. I like how the pirates know about the legend. It's very Treasure Island. It's, it's really what it is. It's Treasure Island moved over into Star Wars. But, it's just fun, and it feels like a fun adventure that I feel like a kid watching it again. I really do, and it sounds ridiculous to say that, but I
Well-
feel happy when I watch this show right now.
I think I've talked to Lindsey and Brian about this, but
Thanks for talking to me.
I don't.
I'm on your
I
chain
save
every
it-
morning.
I save
Every
it for the-
morning.
I save it for the podcast, man.
All right.
But this show has a very low price of entry. You don't have to have watched 15 seasons of an animated show. You don't have to be steeped in 45 years of Star Wars lore.
Right.
Today, when Facebook sends you the reminder, your memories that pop up. It was 4 years ago today, December 18th, that is as it is measured in the old calendar. December 18th, 4 years ago today, was when The Mandalorian first debuted Luke Skywalker.
Huh.
And to me, that is probably one of the finest moments of that show, but also the moment where that show went on the path of no return. Because after that, you had Boba Fett. After that, you had more Luke Skywalker, and you can't get away from that stuff. When you introduce those characters, they just take over everything. And the same with Obi-Wan Kenobi show with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. It just it becomes so all-encompassing that we lose all objectivity and like, well, how could they do this? Why are they doing this with these characters? This show it's a brand new adventure, and it's the direction. It's like season 1 of Mandalorian.
And I think
It's an adventure set in Star Wars world, but not leaning on all the Star Wars tropes to try to connect it all back to, de-aged Mark Hamill. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's almost refreshing. Like, this is a new adventure in this world. Those other things are still out there, but I'm invested now in this story.
You know what it's a lot like?
Yeah.
What you and I believe that's very well put. I agree 100% with what you said. But not in a very off way. It reminds me of Endor Battle or Ewoks Battle for Endor.
The Ewoks.
In 1985, Lindsey, this came out. The Battle for Endor. And you know what it was? It was like, it's just what Jared said. It was a separate adventure in the Star Wars universe that didn't involve the main characters.
but it was also terrible. And
It was
not
awful.
as
Wilford
good.
Brimley with the Ewoks, and it was not great.
Although this show, speaking of that, this show brought back an alien from that TV movie. Do you remember the little weird wiry puppet guy who drove the?
That guy. Yeah.
He drove the
school bus.
No, he drove the little taxi from their ship to the pirate base.
Oh yeah.
And he ran real fast.
Yeah.
And he ran off with the chip.
Is that from the Battle for Endor?
That alien is from Battle for Endor.
There you go.
Wow.
Tie it in, man.
And they talk,
I love those deep cuts.
And they talk about when the kids get lost, the parents are talking about the life monitor bracelets, also from the Battle of Endor. That's how the kids in that movie found out their parents were dead.
Oh, that's right.
The life monitors went out.
Oh, golly.
The Ewoks ate the parents.
And speaking of deep cuts,
not sure they didn't eat.
No, the parents got killed by marauders.
You could have. I was literally. You could have told me anything happened in that, and I would.
But wait, quick pause.
Okay.
But quick pause. I love the internet because they are the best sleuths of the world. Why did the Ewoks have a dress?
What?
For Leia, she had a dress. They had clothes. They at some point had captured, and we know they were going to eat Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. So at some point they probably ate a lady, kept her clothes.
Get back on track.
Sorry. I digress.
Listen, well,
we're going to talk about the Hollow show, Jared.
Oh yeah, the deep cut, the terrible holiday special, deep cut that I did some reading on. I think Matt, you did the same, and Brian maybe, but they had to recreate that scene from scratch because the video that's available is too low res to use. So they went back to the Lucasfilm archives and pulled out the plans to remake all the costumes.
I love that.
And
oh my gosh.
The guy, John Watts, who's the showrunner, he said one of the biggest projects of that first episode was recreating the holiday special scene.
Oh wow! Just
for like a quick
10 seconds of time.
But that's what they did in that first episode. They really took time, and it was very Goonie-esque how they popped back and forth with the kids. And you got to see their home life, their social life, how they interacted in school.
I want their house, by the way.
I know, it's
their
cool
their house and his room. I was like, that's what I want to live in.
It was very cool.
Did you notice their bikes had little streamers?
Yeah.
On the
baskets.
Yes, just like their little speeder bikes that they drove. They like BMX bikes.
So, I mean, they're putting the show together really well. The cast is great. It's exciting. They get them on an adventure in a spaceship. They get them off at Aten, their planet, the hidden planet behind the void, which, by the way, it's kind of cool because when they finally get through the void, they're all shocked that they could make it through. But they're on this old spaceship. They have got this crazy, by the way, great robot with Nick Frost doing the voice. Fantastic voice.
Yeah,
so good.
I love the.
I never heard of no Aten.
He has no eye, and a rat keeps popping out, and that's supposed to be a pirate because he has one eye. That's his eye patch. Is the rat?
My first note of all my notes says so many pirates. That's all of my very first note.
And at first it almost bugged me because it was like it was like Pirates of the Caribbean pirates.
Yes.
It's very much where you going, lad, and all that, and that seems very earthbound to me. But it's one of those things you just you just buy into it because
that Nick too, man. the Nick too.
Oh, he was in wasn't he in The Mandalorian?
Yeah, he's one of the gang.
He was one of the gang who worked for the Easter grass goofy looking alien pirate guy.
Yeah. But SM33 or SME, which is awesome.
And I would not have picked that up had I not been using closed caption.
I just got it when you just explained it just now.
Oh, really?
SME.
SME. Oh, dang.
Because I looked at when this closed caption came up, SM33. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, but the design is great on that guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
And he's a puppet. Did you know he's a rod puppet? There's a guy they paint out who's standing behind.
Really, I didn't know that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
well,
so
let's talk about what they're doing.
Practical puppet.
Let's talk about the show because they're doing a lot of practical effects in this show. which
Yeah.
is really cool. And it looks,
Yeah.
you can tell that it's practical in there.
The ships they're using, the ILM on their Facebook page put out a video, and they are actually using motion control models for a lot of the ships in this show, and they're shooting them like they did in the original trilogy.
That's
I mean, if you're a fan
nice.
of old movie making, this is a great show to watch.
And it
I think
seems
this is the best looking Star Wars show.
Oh my God.
they've made
This
so
is-
far.
I mean, as far as like
It's really nice.
when they get to that pirate base, that is like the biggest creature feature since
Yeah.
probably like Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
like
without
with all
question.
the aliens. I mean, bigger than Return of the Jedi
Yeah,
because
they even had a four-breasted woman.
they did. Yes,
They did. I gotta go.
I missed that.
No.
Missed that too.
I need to go back and watch that scene now.
well, remember the lady who was dancing in Jabba's palace, who was
Sure.
the larger lady?
Yeah.
It's one of her species who's there
Yeah.
at the little brothel or whatever it
I mean,
is.
they
where that
packed
lady
them
comes
all
out.
into that. That whole station is full of everything you could imagine. Every
And,
creature you've ever seen's
the,
there.
the Ishi Tib who got his eye shot out.
Yeah, he's
Do you
getting his eye put back in.
Yeah, did you notice that in the first scene of the show, which is sort of this recreation of A New Hope, when the big pirate vessel overtakes the smaller ship, and they all board. They got those crazy claw things that come through the hulls.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then it's sort of like a replay of New Hope because they're sitting there waiting for the pirates to board,
Yeah.
and then when they come on, he almost says, when it's obviously Jude Law in a mask,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, if this is a Republic bank ship, where are the credits? They're almost replaying some dialogue from the first movie, and then of course they open the vault and there's one coin in the place.
Because I didn't really
It was
know
like,
anything
wah, wah.
about the show. I was like, is this a trap? Like that feels like that's mocking them, this one coin. So I was like, where is this going? And the answer is nowhere. That's just a setup to get.
Well,
it's just
it was to get Jude Law put in
yes,
jail.
yes. But I was
Which-
like,
Pirate jail.
Now,
I'm surprised
but-
they didn't throw him out into the space.
I know,
Yeah.
like just eject him.
So,
but
guys, let's talk about Jude Law's character.
yes,
then.
Jod Wood. That's a
Jod
rolls off,
not Wood. So,
rolls
Jod-
off the
John
so,
Law.
or
So-
Crimson Jack or Captain Silvo.
so how
or-
old do we think he is here?
I got the Captain Silver reference. I did get that one. Just wanted to
I
know that.
wonder if, because I don't think he was a Jedi. I don't think he was I don't think he was a trained Jedi.
Well, how old is Jude Law? He's like 55.
What if he's one of the younglings that got away?
Ooh, but he
Oh,
feels
that's
too
a
old
thought.
for that.
I
Is
think
he,
he's
though?
okay. So you're talking about you're
He's-
the
look-
same time period as Mando. So you're 5 years after Return
Right.
of the Jedi,
Right?
which is about 25.
Maybe like a teen youngling.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
he
about
could have been an
he's-
older
He's
youngling.
about 50 in real life.
Well, we'll say
He's over 50.
that Jod Na Wood is 50.
Maybe he
in the
was
show.
a Padawan or something.
So yeah,
Right.
he could have been. But what? Yeah, you're right. He is fascinating because
Yeah.
he seems to be a lot of contradictions.
Mm-hmm.
He's and there's something going on because I rewatched a lot of the episodes today, and there's things that happen with him that don't add up.
Hmm.
Like, when he goes to get SM-33,
that he's willing to do that and does go
that he
do it.
wants to do it, but I noticed like the second time I watched it, he almost is like he wants the kids to ask him to do that. He's like, well, I don't really. Oh, okay, and it seems very easy. Like,
Hmm.
why would he
Mhm.
care about this droid?
When he also says, "Don't trust droids."
Yes,
Like he's trying to
When-
win
when
their trust by doing this for them.
yeah. I
And
mean,
everything else he
maybe.
does.
But there's something happens in episode 4 where he magically comes back with all the Eopies.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're missing something there and it's hilarious when they all get him at gunpoint. And he's like, you know what? Just shoot me. Which,
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. There's 9 episodes or 8 episodes in this show.
8. So we're
Okay.
halfway through at this point.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping there's more than one season here, but like he's a very interesting character. I think already Jude Law is well written. He's killing it, obviously, because Jude
So-
Law is a great actor anyway.
Do all of you, Lindsey, Brian, Matt,
Yes.
Do you think he is using the Force?
Yes.
I think so. But I thought it was really interesting something he said when he got the key. He said the distance between us and the key is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems kind of not force like to say that.
Hmm.
Well,
But it could also be force like too, because, you know, everybody's always, grabbing stuff with the force, right?
Sure.
I mean, it happens all the time. So, and everything's connected in the galaxy. So maybe that's the illusion. I don't know.
And he also does that didn't work, Matt. We saw your finger at the bottom.
More visual comedy for the
uh,
podcast.
Well, he also does the Ben
That's
Kenobi
fine.
trick where he throws his
Oh,
hand
yeah.
and it
Well-
makes a noise, and
I
they're like,
swear
"What
that
was
echo
that?"
was like even the same noise.
It probably was.
there was
Like,
all.
it-
Well,
it-
listen, he also heard he could sense people coming, but he couldn't sense the droid. And,
That's true.
And KB was the one who warned him about the droid, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
he senses the life force. I don't know. I don't know what he is. I think he's legitimately using the force. I think he's got force powers.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, it seems like this show is not, I don't think we're going to be left guessing until at the end of the show what's his story is. I think we're going to find out. I did another scene before, speaking of droids, when he goes in and is looking for SM-33.
Yeah.
He starts activating all these droids,
Mhm.
and he activates a battle droid, and he goes,
Yeah.
"And we win!" And then his head falls off.
Is that what he said? I don't remember. I didn't
Yeah,
have to go
did
back.
we
Did we win?
Oh,
The battle droid pops up and goes, "Did we win?" And then his head pops off.
I'd have
And
to
the-
watch it again. That's great.
and the tatted 8D8 type torture droid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally just tatted up. I mean,
And
it
then
was pretty
he
cool
activated
looking.
like a protocol
But
droid, and
there
he
was
just starts going, "Hello, where's the prince? Oh no!"
It's so he's just walking into the wall.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to tell you, it's not a bad thing, but I want everyone's opinion. Lindsay, I want your opinion first. So Neil,
Uh-huh.
the elephant boy, I don't know
Yes.
what species he is.
Adorable.
Adorable, I agree, and I think the kid's voice is great. But I have to tell you, every time he's featured on screen, it takes me a little out of it, and I don't know why.
Oh.
I think maybe because it's so cartoony. It's the only super cartoony bit for me in the show. But the voice actor, what's his name, Robert Timothy, and look at it, kid's cute in real life too.
Yeah.
Cute voice, great part, great character. He's the heart of the show, and he's the heartbeat of the group. And but it just takes me out every time I see him.
Well, I
You
think it's
know-
because the color palette.
It doesn't take me out of it at all.
Yeah.
I was fully immersed in his being like it's a galaxy made up of all these different species, and he's just another. He's like, he looks so great to me. Like he looks so like he's right there looking like that.
Yeah.
And their friendship is so cute with the fighting, and then there's something in his eye, and then all the other kids are like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah. And then they get embarrassed.
And they get embarrassed,
Yeah.
and he's like such a little dork. I don't know. He's so cute, and I bought it immediately, and it hasn't. No,
Yeah.
it hasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't take me out of it either, but I could see where like the stark contrast of his color, that blue color versus everything else around them. I could see where it looks a little. It almost
And-
looks like they put a cartoon figure in it in a way.
Well,
'Cause he's
Mhm.
so bright.
well, I think he works because he's obviously the kid is wearing a costume. It's a practical. So I mean that helps it. I mean I know the mask is digital with his mouth and his eyes and stuff, but and he's got that crazy like mop of blue hair on top of his head, which is, I like Neil. He doesn't really, and Matt, I don't know, he doesn't take me out because I'm just so accustomed to seeing crazy things like that. And he's not the same species as the
band
Max,
player.
Max Rebo, the guy
know,
who was
I read
playing
that
in
too.
Jabba's.
Which is
It's-
why. Why can't he be
Oh.
the same? Why is
Yeah,
he gonna
I
be
know.
different? He's so close.
But yeah, it's very close. But it's not the same thing.
I call BS on that because it's like in Star Trek with the guy who's half black, half white, and this guy's half white, half black, and it's like they're different. They're not different.
Well, I don't know, but
Maybe they're different. Like there's different kinds of. There's
but
dogs and wolves,
sure,
Maybe
yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
fine,
sure,
fine.
they could be
Maybe they
related.
share a planet.
There's mammoths and there's
And
elephants.
you have
Yeah.
the Twi'leks with their tails and like Ahsoka's people with their tails. It's all
All right, fine.
Sure.
You sold me on it.
listen.
He was so terrified at the end of that towards the end of that last episode when they're kind of marching to nothing, and
yeah.
that girl just like kind of takes him under her wing, and
Yeah, and
You
he
know?
obviously is crushing on her. Really,
Oh, so hard.
By the way, what
That was the only thing that bumped me a little at the end of it. I thought they were super cute is when she basically spells out the exact thing they were already showing us that they're doing, which is that he's showing her a different path.
yes.
I feel like they made that very clear that she didn't need to say it.
They saved they saved a little
said it.
money on that episode, just a little bit. They
well, I
couldn't-
don't know. I mean,
And
I
her
was-
little her flips were also funny to me. She was just like,
Oh,
when
little
she
flips.
gets
Here we go.
flips and runs.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that, but I thought again, the look of the show, like all that ragtag band of people, I think it all looked really good. Like, I'm not. We're not gonna just sit here and compare to the Acolyte, but it's night and day, like production value compared to, because one of the many problems of the Acolyte is it just was lit terribly. Like the fake forest sets that they were on looked like cosplayers on a fake forest set. And this, I mean, I know they're using the volume and they're using visual effects and everything, but there's like a scale to this place. It looks cinematic, especially when they're out in the ruins.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the ruins, it's interesting that, Lindsay touched on this a few minutes ago, but these planets, there's an analog to everything that's on their planet on this planet, except this planet is in ruins.
Yeah.
Like the
That's-
tower.
What's up with that?
It's I want to know more
Is
about
is it dimensional? Is it real? I mean, is it the same planet existing in different ways? I mean, I don't know.
I think it's a different. It's at Arkan or Akan or whatever.
Acheron.
Akron.
Yeah.
Which, by
Well,
the
I think
way, I
there's-
have to look it up. That sounds like something like a pirate ship name.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah,
Oh,
maybe they
a
got
little bit.
pirate ship analogs somewhere in our pirate lore.
Well,
Yeah, I wonder if because they say they were all destroyed except for At-Aten during some
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
obviously I feel like they all must have been connected, trying to do the same, working towards the same thing. Maybe the great work,
the
whatever
great
that's
work.
supposed to
The
be.
great work. Right.
So I do wonder. I feel like I don't know. This is my conspiracy. I don't know what's going on. I'm like I feel like the pirates. Did they live in Manhattan and they just assimilated with that? Like whenever they landed there and assimilated with that culture, and the pirate wanted to protect it, or was he a really bad guy? I'm interested to see why he's trying to protect or hide Manhattan. Like what the
Well,
captain,
Yeah.
the other captain was doing.
Yeah.
You're talking about-
What did we learn about the previous captain of the ship? What did we learn?
Okay, the ship is called
He killed
Onyx
everybody.
Cinder. That's the name of the ship. It's
Oh,
not
when did
ever
that come
mentioned.
up? Oh yeah.
It's online. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's on one of the StarWars.com data bank dumps. And so it's called the Onyx Cinder. And it's a cool looking ship, by the way. I really
That's
like it.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
I like the design.
And I liked how it was like dirty in the spaceport, like literally
Oh,
the
yeah.
soil from when it took off from
Oh, I know.
underground
When Jude Law
was
sees
just
it,
still
he's like,
on it.
he's like, wait, is it that one?
It's like a
Yeah.
It's
halo
just
of
got this
dirt.
It just
Of
looks like
just
somebody's
dirt.
farted in it, and it's
What's
just
that
this
kid
green.
from what's the kid from Peanuts who's just always
Oh,
dirty?
Pigpen.
Pigpen.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
Pigpen. Yeah,
Pigpen
not
ship.
Linus.
And every time it would go to hyperspace, there'd be like crap floating in the.
Yes.
So good. and-
Although I loved when they had to escape from the pirates and they were attached to the cable,
No, the fuel
And-
fuel line.
Oh, yeah.
and then when they finally broke free, that cable just goes and starts
That was
flipping and
wreaking
so
havoc.
good. I was like, I like when there's like real consequences to space, like things in space and things in physics and
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
all sci-fi, but especially in Star Wars, which I think doesn't really entertain that
really-
a lot.
yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that would happen, and all these people
Because-
at the
And
Yeah.
those people are just getting like thrown
Oh my
around
God.
and killed.
yeah.
And
The,
a lot of
uh,
those ships, by the way, I saw this great video. This guy broke down in the pirate in the harbor.
Yeah.
All these different ships are all these like deep cuts from different
Oh,
things.
Of course.
Oh,
the,
wow.
yeah,
I
the
gotta look that up.
the original Millennium Falcon is in there,
Oh.
which
Is
was
the Ebonhawk in there? I gotta look.
They've got Hondo ship in there. They've got all kinds of ships in there. It's very cool.
yeah, and,
A lot of work, a lot of thought. It's a lot of love put into the show.
and
is what
yeah,
it
and
is.
if you listen to John Watts and his writing partner, a guy, last name is Ford. I
Christopher
think.
Ford.
That's it.
That's funny.
When their interviews are great because they're like, yeah, he's like, we went deep into Ralph McQuarrie's drawings and we brought all these great designs back out and we just, we wanted to put them on display, to finally, get some screen time. And, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
And,
and speaking of the love that goes into it, I mean, it's nice to see a Star Wars show that has a lot of love poured into it after that last one that looked like somebody just hated Star Wars.
I mean,
I do wonder. I do wonder, like, what kind of budget and oversight and all these things that go into these when they're being pre-produced
well,
and being written and being made. Because I feel like the premise and the people, like the premise of Acolyte, I gotta be honest, I never finished watching it, but the premise and where I heard it ended, I like the idea of a show about that. And I didn't think I thought the adult actors were great. I thought the cast was good. But everything else was just not doing anything for me. So I was like, how does a show like that get made with these like clear writing problems, budget problems, lighting problems? And then this show gets you can assume a line producer was just writing these checks for this show.
yeah, well,
How does
I think,
This
Matt,
one 126 million,
yeah,
I think.
Matt shared this article from Forbes magazine, and it was, the unfortunate thing with the Star Wars streaming shows is that there's a law of diminishing returns on viewership
Mm-hmm.
because less and less people have been watching the show since the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and the the Skeleton Crew actually has less viewers than the Acolyte does.
Right.
Than the Acolyte did.
But it's
And-
still number one on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's the
But-
number one Disney Plus show, but to your point, their viewership is significantly lower than it was when the Acolyte was released.
And the article makes a good point. It's like what is the answer? You can't keep, you don't want to keep going back to the same well. And with Skeleton Crew, you're actually getting something that the people who are watching it are really connecting with and enjoying. But there's not many people watching it.
It's like an overall streaming problem. I feel like that no one's giving these shows a chance to get an audience for buzz, for hype, to get people like, oh my God, did you watch this? I watched it, for how good it is, to get other people to come watch it. Like, I mean, we remember old Star Trek. You talk about, like, I always say with DS9 when I tell people to watch it, like the first 4 seasons are kind of not that great, but then when you get into season 4, it gets really good. Like, no shows have a chance to have 3 bad seasons overall before it gets really good.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
They don't give anything any chance.
It's a totally different model, and it's the old TV model is. I mean, can you imagine them making 25 episodes in a season now?
And making another 25 a year later?
Yeah, a year. It's just, it's so different now. The whole landscape is different. And you're right, Lindsey. It's like they want immediate return on investment.
Or they're like canceled. Done.
They're like, okay, nobody's watching this. Yeah, okay, it's done. We already dumped 200 million into this. We don't have time for this. So, I don't know. And I think that's a unique problem to streaming.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a sausage factory. It's just, you're having to feed the machine, and you got to keep cranking them out. And that's why quality suffers. That's why, you can't have the grace of 2 or 3 seasons to find your feet, because they don't, the bean counters aren't interested in that anymore.
Well, here's the problem, right? They've already proven this. The model has already proven itself to be unsustainable, and it's already diminishing. It's already going away, and they're trying to do smart things like Disney Plus, Paramount. They're doing smart things by releasing shows, per appointment per day. You have to wait for like a Tuesday night.
Yeah, they're not dropping them all at once. Like
Netflix will drop the entire. Exactly right. So it's like, Netflix is kind of spoiled the streaming viewer for having the bingeable stuff.
Yeah,
right there.
Stranger Things comes out, and everybody in the whole country is sequestering their weekends away to finish the whole season.
They're getting away from that because they're doing Now they're just doing partial seasons.
Yeah,
Yes.
or like
So-
acts,
Well,
like
and then make you
arc-
wait another like
and
6
dragging
weeks
it
to
out,
get
and
the
that's
next.
smart. But
Yes.
this show is already proving that the audience is going away. And
Yeah.
even though there's going to be a core audience that is always there, you can't exist. You can't spend this much money over and over testing these $1 million episodes, $100 million for a show for 8 episodes, hoping you're going to have people stay.
well, it's like a self-eating like monster because I have started I don't start a show until I know it's over. So they're losing viewership because everyone is ready for them to cancel it. Like, why am I going to get invested in it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
probably not the only reason why. I'm not an analyst.
Well,
so-
that's
like I
you're
won't
right.
watch a show. Like I didn't watch or until I know that it ends decently, like that it ends pretty good, or that it at least ends in a way that if it never got renewed, I'd be okay with watching it.
Yeah.
Like I don't even mean just like the season is over. I mean like the show is over.
But
Yeah,
think about
like-
this, right? The executives right now, they don't quite understand that what you're talking about is happening on a mass scale, because these are still television executives that are trained on television that they grew up with. And then they're trying to be avant-garde and they're trying to be edgy and get ahead of the model, but they're still stuck in old ways. It's like a war. It's like generals always fight the war that's 25 years old, 50 years old, because that's the tactics they learned. And you always have the maverick that comes along and figures it out, right? But like, it's always hard to get ahead of the audience. It's impossible because the audience dictates what happens later on in how things work. Streaming's in trouble. It's going to evolve into something different. But it's like, can they sustain it? Can they keep going with these big budget shows and make it work? I don't know. I don't know.
You know, they said the only reason Andor got a season 2 is because it got greenlit almost immediately after season 1 came out.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But
I know.
But here's the thing, another thing with streaming, and especially with these Star Wars shows and Stranger Things and other popular shows, we're having to wait years between seasons. And that's something that also hurts.
yeah.
Because in the old days, like Lindsey said, you'd wait a summer
Right.
and there'd be a new season on. You know,
and you'd be chomping at the bit for that new season.
yeah,
too.
sure. The season would end in May, and then in September they'd come back with the next season.
Could you imagine? That's completely
Listen,
like foreign now.
We are now waiting 3 or
years?
4 years between seasons.
When did Andor stop?
That was
And
20.
the writer's strike, I know, made this the current like drought or time period probably a little bit longer than it would have been. But even then, like Stranger Things, if you even took out the writer's strike, it's going to have taken like 8-9 years to do 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they haven't cracked that nut. And I don't know. I mean, of course, these shows are more ambitious and they're more expensive and they're more, effects intensive and all that. But
I think like maybe I don't know what the answer is. I obviously have gone off on a big tangent, but I feel like focusing maybe on lower budget or mid-tier budget things, which they don't seem to be able to make anymore with just good writing. Like put your money in the writer's room and make a good show that will return investment, even if not 6 billion people are watching it.
yeah,
Well, see, like Netflix has Outer Banks, which has a huge following.
I don't even know what that
And-
is. Like all
Yeah,
is that
well,
that's Jason Bateman, right?
no, that's
wait,
Ozark.
Ozark.
Ozark
Okay.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
But like with Outer Banks, it's a bunch of teenage kids running around hunting for treasure, and it's so far. I think they're in season 4 of that right now. They just finished season 4, and they're going to put out one more season like next year or two, but they're making bank on it. I mean, they don't have any. They're shooting it in Charleston, South Carolina, and they're just running around the beach and the inlets and stuff like that. And they have some boats and things, and they do blow some
But
stuff
not
up and all
super
that.
I would argue they're not making bank because you have how many episodes are in Outer Banks each season?
10 each season.
10, right? And most like
Hour
Lindsay,
long each too.
most like Lindsay are going to binge it once the season's done, right? So you'll get a someone watching this stuff and they'll binge it for like a week and they'll be happy and they'll love the show and then they'll stop watching Netflix because there's not a show they want to watch on it for like 6 months. So you have a problem then with viewerships that are consistent viewers.
But they don't cancel their viewership though. In the meantime,
Yeah, I mean they interlope, but that's
Yeah.
the problem because because they have data, they know how many people are clicking on that show to watch, and it's
Yeah,
tough.
and they try to rein in the password sharing, but I think everyone knows that that's
Yeah,
still very easy to do.
but
On
but you're
their
right. We
phone.
went off on a big tangent,
Well,
but I'll
yeah,
tell you
which
this.
well, see that brings it back to piracy, which brings it back to Skeleton
Yes.
Crew.
There you go. Good.
Nice.
Close that loop. You know what it
Okay.
is though? I
Well
don't
done.
know if after. I mean, look, Andor's being made. There's a
It's
Mandalorian movie coming out.
yeah,
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Um,
yeah.
so I don't know if they're going to keep making Star Wars shows, but
Well,
after Andor's done, and after this is done, maybe they don't need to make some shows for Star Wars. Maybe they need to go back and concentrate on like taking 4 years off and coming back with an unbelievable movie
yeah.
to get me back in the theater for Star Wars. You
Well,
know,
here's one thing that the creators of this show have said. This is going to be a contained story. You're not going to be left like the end of Ahsoka wondering, well, everybody's trapped in a different galaxy. What the hell is going on? They're going to close the loop. They're going to tell a complete story.
one
They
season.
did. No, well, they said they have stories, but they said they also will take into account how the kids' ages, because these kids at this age are growing, and they said any story that happens after this is going to happen at the age the kids are. They're not going to
I
try to,
love that. I love that
Yeah,
yeah.
because
So,
that's the obviously the Stranger Things suspension of disbelief you have to have
Yeah,
that these
I think
kids
that's
aren't
why
all in
they-
their 20s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they've also delayed, I think, the next season is to let them all
well,
get older looking and do something
well,
when they're older.
but that's one thing that's encouraging about this is that, you can sit down, hopefully when Skeleton Crew is over, and watch season one, and you can have a complete experience.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You can have a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
it's like Harry Potter. How they did it. They
What?
weren't. Harry
They did
Potter, I think, was
classes.
true. I think Harry Potter was kind of true to their ages, and they kind of stuck
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they grew up on camera, which was very
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah.
And if they want to do that with Skeleton Crew, that's fine too. But I just think the way the people who are watching this show and responding to it, I think it's clear that, they've hit on something that
Yeah.
people like. You said the kids are likable. They're good.
And I think the
Ju-
more you talk about, not you, us, everyone talks about
Mhm.
how good it is and how fun it is to watch, then other people go, oh yeah, I didn't really like the last couple. If you say it's good, maybe
Wow.
I'll go check it out. And then they do. So it does have to, when you've lost the trust that it will be good,
Yeah.
you do have to kind of wait for people to come back.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that this show is fun. And if
It
you
was
like
fun.
Goonies, if you like Star Wars, if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, all of this is put into a fun bubblegum show that you watch, sit back, and every episode feels like a movie.
Yeah.
And I told Jared, I watched episode 3. I'm like, oh my God, it was 37 minutes long. I felt like I just watched an hour and a half movie.
It's
Yeah.
good writing, and I had a laugh out loud moment, which I feel like I don't know the last time I laughed out loud at a Star Wars show. I literally like, oh my God, when the boys are trying to like spelunk down the little hill to the
Yeah.
thing,
Yes.
and he goes, "You got me," and he
Yeah.
like jumps down and he pulls him with him, and they roll. That got me. I was like, oh my God, these two little
Well,
dorks, so cute.
But that's very core Star Wars. Humor is part of
Yeah.
Star
And
Wars.
it
you
was
know?
good. I was
last
like,
night when I was
God.
watching episode 4, where SM33 goes, I'll babysit you, little
Yeah.
baby, you little baby. And
Yes.
and John is just like, what? Come on, baby. which that just made me laugh. I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
And Jude Law is so good in this role that we really don't know what's going on with him yet, but you already are like drawn into what's going on with him. But he doesn't outshine. He's like a big movie star, but he doesn't outshine
Yeah.
Yeah.
the kids. He doesn't. You're not like, that's Jude Law I'm watching. He
Yeah,
falls
you're right.
into the role he's in, and he does such a good job.
Well,
So
you know,
you're halfway through. You don't know who Jude Law's character really is. Atten has this pirate myth lore about being this hidden treasure. Who are the Attons? What are they doing on this planet? What is the great work? I mean, all
Yeah,
this
they
has
don't
been put in
even. They
motion.
don't even know.
yeah.
And
Good writing. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I want to know every little bit.
well, every person who works on Atten, when the kids were talking, oh well, everybody's an analyst. Everybody.
Yeah.
What is going
What are
on?
they analyze?
Yeah.
Are they?
They're
It's a
analy- the
world
great work.
computer. It's a world computer.
It's
That's
and the great work. I mean, the first episode they were saying that, and you're like,
Little
what
culty,
is?
little
Yeah, what is
little
this?
weird.
It's Scientology. What's
Yeah,
going
I
on
was
here?
like career choices at like I don't know what they're supposed to be like
Yeah.
12.
Yeah,
right.
and they're like, this test will determine what you'll do, and of course the kid's like, well, I want to be a Jedi,
Oh.
and but as we draw to a close here, I want to make sure everybody has their final say. I don't want to leave anybody if they have notes. I know Lindsey and Brian are good at making notes.
I'm looking at him like, oh my
I
god.
want to go
Okay.
back to Lindsay's point a minute ago about Jude Law not being above the kids.
Yeah,
They did. A lot of that has to do with him being a great actor, but also the writing too, because those kids stand up to him and almost force him to be a peer in
yeah,
a way,
yeah.
and he can't be, all. I mean, he's sitting there thinking probably above them for sure.
Right.
Sure.
He's something's going on.
Something's going on. Oh, and by the way, I love his
It's-
Lando shirt.
Does he have a Lando shirt?
That blue shirt he had on, and
Oh, yeah, it's a
good shirt.
very
It's a good shirt.
Lando-esque.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think
Um,
it's the writing of like the Goonies and these movies that were for kids but didn't treat kids like they were dumb, like
Yeah.
shows and movies can do with kids who are behaving in any kind of way and anything. Like these kids they're not stupid, but they are kids, and so
Yes.
it's really they
And
feel like real kids.
I think you saw some vulnerability in the last episode where
Yeah.
Fern was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and we're just kids, and Jude Law seems he is mysterious, but he also seems to care about the kids.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want them to get hurt. And although when they were being chased by those X-wings, and he's just like, okay, Neil, you drive, kids, you go up in the turrets,
Yeah.
and all this craziness is going on.
That was a super
Uh-huh.
fun moment, though.
Yeah,
Could you
that was a
imagine?
great scene.
I like the whole
Yeah.
planet they were on. I like
What
that.
with the gas giant in the background?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That looked amazing.
I like
and
the
Kim-
laboratory. The
The
what-
weird bat owl
Oh,
cat
and
lady.
the
Yeah.
owl. That
I
was
loved
really
her.
cool.
Yeah, she was cool.
She looks so good. I love her
And-
little shop.
And
Her
it's
Someone brought it up. It was reminiscent of Olga's Dark Crystal planetarium thing. Have you ever watched the Dark Crystal?
I know what you're
Nobody-
talking about.
Yeah.
But it's weird to you see all these fantastical things, but the next show that's coming out is Andor. And Andor is almost polar opposite of this.
Yeah.
But it's so weird in this world that you have like that little owl lady and Cassie and Andor, they exist in the same
Yeah.
Universe.
world.
But
And
you know
that's-
what? This show
but-
lets me be a kid and watch Star Wars. Andor
Correct.
lets me be an adult and watch
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Exactly.
Andor's very
But
grounded.
Yeah.
it is. But for some, and if it's done well, it all feels like it's part of the same
I can't
world.
swim. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's. Oh, he's coming. Andy Serkis, he's coming back.
Well,
but
this is halftime, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
so far, Skeleton Crew I'm giving it 2 thumbs up so far. I think
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
great show. If you love Star Wars, you know what? This is the show I'm going to show my son to get him into Star Wars. Because
Oh,
to Jared's
see,
point,
that's-
this is the entry point that all kids should be using that haven't been into Star Wars. This is a fun show because it's not all the stuff they learn on YouTube, all the spoilers they already learned about Star Wars. It's none of that. They get to go in and enjoy what Star Wars was for me. Fun, good writing, adventure.
and
So,
just think, I mean, if you had seen, I mean, me and Brian grew up together, and we were little kids when we were watching Empire and New Hope, but how crazy would it have been if we saw kids our age doing that stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, our heads would have exploded.
Mhm.
Yeah. We
And-
were already out there having lightsaber battles.
Yeah,
and the like.
exactly. I mean, we were like, Neil and
Wim.
Whim.
Wim,
Wim.
and and that's the one thing I thought of when I watched this show for the first time. The guys and the people making the show are our age ish, and they they're showing they experience Star Wars kind of the same way. And Lindsay, I know you're a little younger than we are, a little, a lot. But you said when you were small, you experienced them on VHS with your parents.
I did watch them, and I got into the video games, I would say.
Yeah.
With them,
but
what really got me into it. But no, then I did watch the movies, and I loved them. And I had my little cousins watching the original series first.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's like these guys and gals, because Bryce Dallas Howard's directing the finale, which is cool. And
she does good work.
Yeah, she's great. They're taking what they had in the 70s and 80s, and now they're putting it up for a new generation of kids to try to get them back in. And I think that's great, Matt, if you show your son this or your daughters and they enjoy it. Yeah. And it's a perfect gateway.
I think it's a good gateway for people who haven't been watching any of the Star Wars stuff as adults too.
Exactly.
I was telling Jenny about it, and she was like, "I've never watched it." I go, "I think you could watch this and like it, and have you not need to know anything."
It's just a fun show. Yeah. It's a fun show. It doesn't have to be Star Wars.
Easy to watch. It's easy to watch. I feel like I love Andor, but it is heavy.
Yeah.
No, but we said the same thing about Andor. Andor doesn't have to be a Star Wars show. It was just a good show. It was a good show, and you could put it in a different universe with similar stuff, and it'd still be a good show. This is like what this is too. This is it. The kicker in this is that it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's a great space adventure with kids. It happens to be in the Star Wars universe, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm going to be optimistic that they can land this plane, because so far,
normally I wouldn't watch something that's not over and guaranteed to be enjoyable to watch.
It's been flying true so far. So let's see. I think they can land this plane.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank everyone for listening and joining us in this pirate adventure. So, we'll see what our schedule is going to be like here. I mean, maybe we don't wait until the finale. Maybe we do another show and then have the finale as its own show.
Exactly.
So
let's meet before. Let's meet after like 3 more episodes.
Let's do 3 episodes and then come back and then do a finale show. Yeah, and then we can talk about the whole thing.
I like it.
But until that time, we want to wish you best wishes, trying to penetrate the Great Barrier, and
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the holidays are coming up here, so please have a happy and safe time over Christmas and New Year's, and we'll be here. We'll be here on @Atten.
Can't say I remember no @Atten.
I'm gonna have my phone start saying that to me all the time. But anyway, we'll wrap it up here. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you next time.
I'm Brian.
Brian, what order do we used to go in?
Lindsay, you always went last.
Did I?
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Just pick it up from where you drop your name in.
We'll go around the horn. Okay. Yeah. So
pause. Let me get the phone out of my room.
A Siri, what's happening?
Something.
Matt is fully gone.
Okay. So
fully gone.
So the Google AI on my phone just started creating a story called The Spoiler Lightsaber. That is ridiculous. That ruined the whole bit.
Why don't we pick it up from where you play something?
I'm igniting it. Ouch. Man, I didn't think I was ever going to land that plane. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just stop talking.
You were going.
Jackhead.
You just kept going.
I was like, okay, I got to find. Okay.
You know you can't live without this content, so subscribe to The Hyperspace, podcasting in the 25th century. Follow us on social media, leave us a review, and join us here next time as we take you into the 25th century.